The Mamanaka Islands of Fiji offer a brutal, isolating environment. In the milestone 50th season of Survivor, 24 returning players were dropped onto these beaches to face the elements and each other. The stakes were higher than any previous iteration. A preseason twist involving YouTube creator MrBeast doubled the standard prize pool, putting a massive $2 million on the table. Among the cast were competition beasts, previous winners, and legendary four-time players. Entering a game with that level of prior exposure places an immediate, massive target on a veteran's back. Surviving 39 days against a roster of this caliber requires physical endurance, but to dictate the outcome, a player has to deploy a rigorous psychological framework to manage the threat level. Aubry Bracco first reached the end of the game in Season 32, co-wrong. She finished as the runner-up, a loss that sparked intense debate and left her questioning her approach. Instead of walking away, she spent the next 10 years dissecting the show. She analyzed the behavioral patterns, voting records, and social strategies of every single winner crowned after her defeat. In her early appearances, her gameplay relied on vulnerable, emotion-driven alliances. Returning for Season 50, she replaced that old-school mentality with a calculated, data-driven system. The chaotic nature of 24 starving, sleep-deprived contestants seems impossible to control, but mapping out a decade of past outcomes provides a blueprint to systematically solve the game. Traditional Survivor strategy involves building a static, impenetrable majority alliance. Aubry rejected this model, opting instead to play hopscotch, continuously shifting her position between rival factions. This network map illustrates her operational framework. She positioned herself as an isolated hub, treating secrets as currency. She extracted information from one group and traded it to alphas like Jonathan and Rizo, establishing secure lines of trust without committing to their voting blocks. By constantly facilitating these micro-betrayals, she controlled the flow of camp paranoia. Factions relied on her intelligence network so heavily that eliminating her became a tactical disadvantage. Treating information as a tradable asset ensures that even the highest-profile veteran remains insulated from a blindside. They are simply too useful to vote out. That insulation was tested at the Final Five. A rival player, Tiffany Irvin, recognized the danger of Aubry's central position and targeted her as the endgame's primary threat. Tiffany actively campaigned at camp, attempting to expose the middleman strategy and rally the remaining men to vote Aubry out before the final council. The effort failed. The trust network Aubry had spent weeks building held firm, and she orchestrated a swift defensive strike that sent Tiffany to the jury. The final four then faced Samotion, a challenge requiring intense focus to track multiple metal spheres rolling in looping geometric patterns. After Jonathan and Rizo dropped their spheres, Aubry outlasted Joe Hunter. Across 4 seasons and dozens of attempts, it was only her second individual immunity win. Securing physical safety at the very end of the game removes a player from the chopping block. It gives them the absolute power to dictate the architecture of the final vote. A preseason fan vote determined the mechanics of the final elimination. Aubry earned the power to select one player to sit next to her at the end, while the remaining 2 would fight for the last spot in a fire-making duel. She assessed the risk profiles of the 3 men. Concluding that Joe's passive gameplay posed the least threat in a jury vote, she selected him to advance safely. This choice intentionally pitted the 2 largest physical threats, Rizo and Jonathan, against each other. By forcing them to make fire, she guaranteed that one alpha competitor would eliminate the other. In a bizarre live television anomaly, host Jeff Probst accidentally introduced Rizo as a jury member to the studio audience before the pre-taped fire challenge even aired, spoiling his defeat. By mastering the mechanics of the final round, a strategist can curate their ideal opponents for the final tribal council, completely avoiding the backlash of casting the lethal vote themselves. The final tribal council requires finalists to answer to a jury of 11 eliminated legends, all demanding a clear explanation of how they were outwitted. Jonathan argued his case based on physical dominance and aggressive blindsides, while Joe defended his position as an agreeable, consensus-building middleman. The jury directed their harshest criticism toward Aubry. Several members viewed her constant movement between alliances not as strategy, but as clear disloyalty. Aubry countered by reframing her actions. She argued that rigid loyalty is an outdated concept and that her fluidity was a necessary, calculated adaptation to survive a cast of heavyweights. When a player can successfully repackage a perceived character flaw into a demonstration of strategic growth, they disarm the jury's anger and build a persuasive case for the win. The argument worked. The jury delivered an 8-3-0 vote, crowning Aubry the victor. She secured the $2 million prize, a new vehicle, and finally earned the elusive title of sole survivor. The victory was the direct result of the 10 years she spent in the vacuum after season 32, analyzing the exact reasons she fell short the first time. Ultimately, Survivor is a complex social algorithm. Physical strength and luck play a role, but with enough rigor